Fatima did not create Smily, but she created the golem as a symbolic act of claiming power over Smily. What if the golem itself eventually comes to life inside Fromville, because this is a town where symbolic acts have a habit of becoming literal and creates a third variable nobody is expecting. The show has 4 episodes left. That is exactly the kind of left turn it would pull. Now let us talk about the person who is quietly destroying everything while everyone else is trying to fix things. Sophia. For anyone who is a couple episodes behind, Sophia is the man in yellow. She has taken over the body of a pastor's daughter and she is living inside Colony House, trusted by everyone, and systematically feeding information to the creatures while poisoning the minds of the most vulnerable residents. This episode, she uses an egg and what appears to be some kind of spoken spell to reanimate Roger's dead body. Roger had died earlier in the season. His corpse had been sitting in the shed. Sophia goes in there quietly, cracks this fertilized egg over him, and sends him walking into Colony House. The result is chaos. Roger has no eyes, no jaw. He is stumbling around, terrifying everyone. Elgin kills him again with the second totem from the settlement, but the damage is done. Sophia watched from a distance while the whole thing fell apart. And then there is Henry. Sophia fed Henry her blood a couple of episodes ago. The hallucinations Henry is experiencing now, seeing himself in a hospital room hooked up to machines with Victor trying to wake him up, that is Sophia's suggestion taking root. She planted the idea that the township is a dream, that they just need to wake up to escape. This is sophisticated psychological warfare, and it connects to something broader that the show is building toward. Boyd told Sara the details of his nighttime plan, which buildings to stay near, which routes he had mapped out. What Boyd did not know is that Sophia is essentially reading Sara's mind. Or at least, Sara is compromised enough that information flows from her to Sophia without Sara even realizing it. That is why the creatures were blocking every safe building around the post office when Kenny needed to run. They already knew the plan. So the township now has 2 unwitting spies inside their own walls. Henry and Sara, neither of them knows it. And until Boyd runs a fake operation to catch whoever the leak is, these plans are going to keep falling apart. The other major thread of this episode is Boyd finally telling every single resident the truth. Tabitha is Miranda reincarnated. Jade has been here before. The children's bones in the tunnels are the key to breaking the cycle. And the residents react exactly like real people would. Some believe it, most do not. And Henry's reaction is the one that hits hardest. Henry had already been processing learning about how Miranda actually died. He was already using alcohol to cope, and then Boyd tells him while he is drunk that his wife has come back as a different person named Tabitha. Henry does not accept it, he storms out. Victor, on the other hand, understands immediately, but Victor's response is more unsettling than Henry's denial. Victor starts warning people that the pattern is repeating. Miranda came into the township with a boy and a girl. Tabitha came in with a boy and a girl. And in Miranda's cycle, the boy Victor was the only one who survived. That logic points directly at Ethan. Victor is essentially saying Ethan is the survivor of this cycle, which means everyone else around Tabitha may not make it to the end. Now, there is a hole in that theory. Miranda arrived with 2 children. Tabitha arrived with a husband, a son, and a daughter. Jim is dead. Does that shift the pattern, or does Jim's death just even the count back to what it was in Miranda's time? The show is not going to answer that question cleanly, but it does make you wonder, is Victor right? Is Ethan the only one this place intends to let survive? Going into episode 8, the board looks like this. The door in the basement is still sealed. They have not been able to open it from the Colony House side. The plan now is to try to access it from inside the tunnels, but they just proved the totems do not work on the creatures. So whatever plan they bring into those tunnels needs to involve something else. Fatima's ability to control Smily is the wild card. If she can get Smily to run interference in the tunnels while the group retrieves the bones, that changes the math entirely. But Sophia now knows this is possible, because she was watching the post office incident from the outside. She saw what Fatima did, which means Fatima is now a target. Henry is compromised and getting worse. Sara is compromised and does not know it. Boyd's tremors are getting worse. Jade noticed in this episode that they have progressed significantly since season 3, and Victor is in a state of quiet terror that his old nightmare is about to replay itself on a new cast. 4 episodes left. The door is still closed, and the town just got more dangerous from the inside than it has ever been from the outside. From has always been a show that rewards patience. Season 4 took its time and some people pushed back on that, but episode 7 is the payoff for all of that patience. Every thread that seemed slow is now pulling tight at the same time. Fatima controlling Smily is the most significant power shift this show has had since Boyd got the worms from Martin. And the fact that it comes from a woman building a clay figure in her room because her father told her stories is the kind of storytelling that makes this show worth every confusing, frustrating, brilliant minute. If you want to keep this conversation going, drop your theories in the comments. Specifically, do you think Fatima can control Smily long enough to actually use him, or is that connection going to be severed before they get the chance? And if this video helped you make sense of the episode, the subscribe button is right there. New content every week while the season runs. See you for episode 8. Today we are going deep. Not just a recap. We are breaking down the 3 biggest moments from this episode, what they actually mean for the rest of the season, and one theory that nobody is talking about that I think is going to matter a lot in the final 4 episodes. If you have not watched yet, turn off this video, go watch, come back, because we are going in with everything. Before we get into episode 7, let me give you the 60-second version of where things stand, because this season has been building a lot of pieces and it mattered. The residents of Fromville have been stuck in this town for years. Every night, creatures come out and try to kill them. The only protection is the talismans on their doors, but for the first time in the show's history, they are not just surviving, they are actually working on getting out. Boyd has figured out that Jade's mushroom vision was real, not just a hallucination. A hidden door in the basement of Colony House is now confirmed to exist. Tabitha has discovered she is the reincarnation of a woman named Miranda who lived and died in this town in a previous cycle. And Fatima, a few episodes back, gave birth to the creature known as Smily, after Elgin's blood somehow triggered a supernatural pregnancy. All of that has been building. Episode 7 is where things stop building and start exploding. Let us start with Boyd, because his plan is what drives the first half of the episode, and its failure is actually really important information. Boyd's idea was simple. The totems from the settlement, the same weapons that were used to kill those giant life-sized dolls, maybe they can kill the creatures too. He had already killed Smily once before using the worms from Martin back in season 2. So Boyd has proof that these things can die. His logic was, find a weapon, test it, and then use it in the tunnels when they go to retrieve the children's bones. So Kenny, being the guy that he is, volunteers to take Boyd's place in testing this theory. He corners one of the creatures at night and drives a totem spear right into it. The creature laughs. Not dramatically, it just laughs. That detail matters. It does not recoil. It is not hurt. It finds it funny. That is the show's way of telling you the rules just shifted again. The weapon works on the dolls, which are artificial constructs made by the township's architect. But the creatures themselves are something else entirely. They operate on different rules. Now some people online are treating this like a setback. I think it is actually crucial information, because it forces the question, what exactly is the difference between the dolls and the creatures? The dolls were made. The creatures were born, or more specifically, they were reborn from humans who died in this town. Think about that. These creatures were people once, and the totem that kills them has to respect that distinction somehow. Which is why what happens next is so significant. While Kenny is trapped on the bus with Smily transforming into its monster form, Fatima, sitting in Colony House on the other side of town, locks in. She can see through Smily's eyes, and she screams stop. And it stops. Now this has been building all season. Screen Rant actually put it very well. The comparison to Stranger Things is almost impossible to avoid. Fatima seeing through Smily's eyes is structurally similar to Will Byers being connected to the Demogorgon's hive mind in Stranger Things. The show is clearly drawing on that same idea of a psychic tether between a human and a supernatural being. But here is where From does something more interesting than Stranger Things did with it. Fatima is not a passive receiver. She is not just experiencing what Smily experiences, she is sending commands back. She is not just connected, she has influence. And the Golem storyline is what makes this feel earned rather than sudden. Earlier this season, Fatima started building a clay golem. She explained it through the lens of Iranian folklore her father used to tell her as a child, a guardian figure, a protector, something shaped from raw material and given purpose. She said she was building it to feel less afraid of her connection to Smily, to feel like she had some kind of power in the situation. The golem itself did not literally come to life, but the act of making it, of channeling intention and courage instead of fear, that may have been the thing that tipped the balance. Because the connection between Fatima and Smily feeds on fear. The show has stated that directly. Smily derives pleasure from Fatima's fear. The moment she stopped being afraid and started being deliberate, the dynamic inverted. Now here is the theory that I want to add on top of this, because this is where it gets really interesting. In Jewish folklore, which is one of the sources the show is clearly pulling from, a golem is a creature made from clay and brought to life to protect a community. But in most golem stories, there's always a second act. The golem eventually goes out of control. it becomes a threat to the very people it was made to protect. The Jewish Museum Berlin literally documents this pattern in golem mythology, the creature created to serve turns on its creator.